Down the outside of the golf cart, that's Mackenzie. 2 wheels out on the grass. What an overtake. If he can make this stick, he might go right around and lead this little bunch.
Okay, here we are for race 4. This was probably my favourite race of the weekend. I got a much better start. Believe it or not, that's actually a good start for what I was doing on the weekend. That's something I'm really going to work on next time I go to a practice day. Before next round, I'm going to do a lot of practice starts and just really work on it, because every race this weekend I'd lose at least one spot, and some of the races 2 places, 3 I think in one of them as well. So really got to work on it. We've got Matt, I think it is. Something happened to him in the race before, so he was coming through the field. I knew there was no use fighting him. Thankfully, he's quite an intelligent racer. He knows what he's doing. He didn't try and move on me there. He waited till the straight, and I wasn't going to hold him up. In hindsight, I really should have kept my foot in it. I lifted a bit, which I really shouldn't have, and it really cost me a lot of time. Even if I kept my foot planted, he was always going to get past me. I was a bit paranoid about going too wide through the sweeper, but in hindsight, I should have just kept it flat. Anyway, now I'm just trying to keep touch. I know that Ed's right in my mirrors. I think it was either Ed or Jeff, one of the two. I knew every time I was braking, they were gaining on me a bit into this braking zone and the other hard braking zone. So really wanted to make sure I stayed ahead of them. It's a lot harder to pass people than it is to keep in front of them. Coming down into this corner, I really wanted to have a crack when I saw that Brian had gone wide, and I really thought about it. I lift up. I didn't want to slow down. Again, there's no real point fighting him there and just letting the pack in front get away. I was actually doing times that were very comparable to the next pack ahead, and I was hoping that I got a good start and got away from Brian, Jeff and Ed, so that I could hang on the back of their pack. I had to think about going past him in the sweeper there, but thought better of it. After that last one with Ed, it's really quite sketchy, so I just backed off. Knew that I really had his number going down into Gumtree, so that's where I wanted to make my move. We see Ed coming down here. He didn't have the overlap. I knew he didn't have the overlap. I was looking in my mirrors, so come across, kept my line. I knew he wasn't going to dive bomb me, and I just had to brake late, and I was fine. He wouldn't be alongside me at all. Coming into here, I'm just setting myself up. I know he's going to be slow, and I'm hoping he's going to miss the apex, which he does both. And then it's really just a matter of getting on the gas and getting past him. I'm trying to get the move done before we go into the next corner. I didn't quite get it done, so I still left him room. Just wanted to get a good exit here so that I was in front. So now we're in front, and Brian's quite good in the draft, so I knew I had to just try and shake him out of the draft, which is a lot easier said than done. This part we're coming up to now, around the sweeper, the next corner, and the S's. As you would have seen from the video from last round, he really has my number around this part of the track. Thankfully, I've cleaned it up a lot, and even though he's still quicker than me, it's nowhere near as bad as before, especially in these S's going onto the straight. I've really improved going through there. So Coming down here, I was going to stay right to fend him off. I realised there was no way he was going to get beside me, so I positioned myself more to the left and just tried to keep as much speed as possible. I really kept a lot of speed. As you can see, I nearly ran out of track, but I had enough track, kept it on board, and at this stage I'm just trying to do a good lap and not make a mistake so I can try and get him out of my draft. I believe I was doing about 132s at this stage, so pretty good times, but I had already done a couple of mid 131s, so I really wanted to be doing that times. Instead I'm doing about a second slower because I'm probably worrying a little bit too much about the people behind instead of just putting my head down and just getting those 2 or 3 laps of 131s and breaking that toe. I'm very close to breaking the toe, but as he's got my number coming around here, he's always managing to get back into it for the second straight. So I really got to, next time, just concentrate on, once I've got in front and I've got a couple of corners where I know they're not going to get beside me, just really do them as good as possible and just try and start building a gap up. Again, I knew he wasn't going to be able to get beside me here. I knew he was going to get close. In that turn 1, I'm really braking a little bit too much. Brian and Jeff were both gaining a bit of time on me there. And what happens here, as you can see him slow right down, is he accidentally switched his car off. There's a switch which for your electrics that he flicked off and turned his car off, believe it or not. That was actually the second time he'd done it. I think in the race before this one he did it as well. Maybe it was the very first race, but yeah, he'd definitely done it before on the weekend, so that really cost him. Allowed Jeff to get past, and Jeff is really a fast racer. Well, not compared to the very front guys, but for me last event, he was definitely the standout guy in my pack, pace wise, and he really has a crack too, so full credit to the old fella. I think he's in his 60s. I hope I'm still having a crack like him when I'm in my 60s. So anyway, same deal, just want to break his toe, which I know is going to be a lot harder than Brian. He's definitely got a lot of pace. You'll see coming down into turn 1 how much he actually gains on me. He's very experienced. Has a bit of a wobble there. Yeah, he's a really, really good racer, so he's not so good at reversing though. On the practice day, he broke his oil line, split an oil hose on his car, and we were next to each other in the pits, and he reversed into my gazebo and broke my gazebo, so he's not the best reverser. Anyway, as you can see down into Siberia, that corner we just did before, he gained a fair bit on me. I didn't notice how much he had gained on me, so I'm actually starting to feel a bit more relaxed now and not worried about him making a move, which, to his credit and my detriment, you'll see he takes advantage of it later because he knew he had my number going into Siberia. I was really braking way too early and way too much, and he definitely takes advantage of it, as you'll see going into the next lap. Wasn't worried about him making a move here, just trying to do this corner as quickly as I can. The main thing I was focusing on here was getting power down early for turn 2. My lovely engineers had told me how I seemed to be losing pace going up that hill, so I was trying to work on getting my accelerator down early. Covered him off a bit in case he was going to make a move. I don't think he ever intended on doing it. I think he was just sort of setting me up so that I didn't have the best pace going through this part now, and then bang. He does not hold back. Lovely move down the inside. I was going to fight him here, but as this goes onto the sweeper, I sort of only half-hearted did it because I didn't want Brian to catch back up to us and bring him back into the fight. So backed off, let him go, just tried to stay in his draft. I knew if I could stay close, I would be able to get him going down into the straight, especially if I got a good run through the S's, and I was really happy with how I was doing my S's. So the S's coming up here, so I had confidence that I'd be able to do it good and get him down the straight. Which, as you can see, I am about to do. So I was pretty happy about this move. Got it done cleanly, got in front, so my corner. He backs off early, gives it to me. I think he's pretty confident of getting me again going into Siberia. So all I'm concentrating on now is just doing this next section of the track as good as I possibly can. So making sure I carry as much speed through Gumtree, this corner here, and get on the power again early, hit my apex, which I managed to do, and then just brake as late as I can coming up to this corner, now Siberia. So I brake a lot later. He still gains on me, but not enough to get past like he did last time. Now I just want to make sure I get a great exit at T-junction, this corner here, which I managed to get a pretty decent one. And I knew there was only a couple of laps left, so I knew it was race on. I just really wanted to put in my quickest lap times. I'm not really super worried about him. I'm just worried about me doing as fast as I can. I know if I get in the low 31s, he's going to be able to stay with me, but he's only really going to be able to pass in my draft on the straight. So I'm just concentrating on just going as fast as I can. It was a great exit there. I was really happy with getting that power down, going up the hill. This race I was doing it the best out of any of the others. I was really losing a bit of time before. Covered him off a bit so he couldn't jump down the inside, and again just trying to get power down and make sure that I got a bit of a gap going into Siberia so he can't do that move, although I was looking out for it now so he didn't have the element of surprise. And you're going to see right here where I drop him. He has a bit of a moment. Excellent catch, a little bit off track, but really that could have been tragic for him. He really caught it beautifully, but that gave me enough of a gap that I knew he was no longer in my draft. At this point coming up, I knew it was my last lap. This was my chance to get down into the 130s. I'd already done my 131, mid 131, so I really just wanted to get into the 130s, which was a little bit faster than what my goal was. So this lap is just trying to get that 130 lap. Trying to carry as much speed as I can through here, get on the power early. I do it not too bad. Probably over-braked a little tiny bit. I'm in turn one, but still not too bad. I'm trying to concentrate on braking later for Gumtree here. Make sure I hit my apex. Siberia here. This is probably the corner I'm going to work on the most when I come back here next time. Losing a ton of time. I'm turning in way too early. Can see the guys in front. That gave me a bit of inspiration. Getting a lot braver through these S's. The new tyres really inspired a bit more confidence, and here we go, crossing the line, and this was a 131 flat. So it was actually 130.95 going by my timer that I had in my car, but the official timer said 131.02 something, I think. Anyway, that was the last race of the round and probably my favourite one, and I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe.